Patricia Sheerin. In April of 2008, a year later, I had a miscarriage. And I called on the divine, and I felt held by my family and held by my friends. I was closer to my husband than I'd ever been in my life. I feel like there's those moments that either break you apart or bind you together, and I feel like it really bound us together. But it wasn't in that moment, but it was later that summer. It was July, and I was feeling just angry and angst-filled and bitter and skeptical and uneasy. And Ken was gone for a week, and I was calling him every day saying, you have to come home. You can't, I can't be alone. You have to come home. And I called one of my best friends, Donna, and I told her, Ken's abandoned me. I need him here. This isn't okay. And she's brilliant. She said, the universe has not abandoned you. The universe still holds you. And she was right. It had nothing to do with Ken. It was that I felt like the universe had let me drop through the cracks, through the unseen cracks of the universe. And they really questioned everything that I had done the year before, which in a funny way, to come through that and still have openness and trust and be able to surrender has made me a very different person. What I said is, in order to hold life and death in me at the same time, has made me a bigger, more solid, substantial person. Because that was the other thing, was to have, I knew the baby had died 4 days before I actually miscarried. So I was literally holding both at the same time. And I think that shaped something about how I feel. Things really have crystallized. Now I have our first daughter, who is 7 months old, and my entire sense of what's important and priorities and what's meaningful has really shifted and crystallized. I thought it was really crucial that, that I bake or do my yoga or get half hour of meditation or, knit or, I don't know. There was so much I thought I needed, and now I realize all I need is to be healthy and to have my family healthy and to be surrounded by the people I love. Things are no longer important, but people are very, very important. And I think that even though I believe that the divine is in everything, I feel like it's most present and most easily accessible in people. And so when I surround myself with people and I interact in a loving, meaningful way, I know for sure that I'm connecting with God. So I feel like I've learned more about God in the past 7 months than I ever knew before. Like in the very early days, because I see in the spiritual path that I work has the divine as a mother, and the divine as a father, and the face of the divine is the child, and the face of the divine is the mystery or the one. And so I feel like I'm getting to know those faces of the divine, both as I've been the child, but now I have a child, or I have a mother, but now I am a mother. And so when I had this, particularly when she was very new, and I'm caring for her, and I'm wanting her to eat, and wanting her to nurse, I go, wow, that must be how God feels when God wants us to take of their sweetness, of his or her sweetness, when God so much just wants us to receive them and is so patient, and it doesn't matter how long it takes or how much you wriggle and fight it. God so wants you to take of that love. And it's heartbreaking until you do, because I had some trouble nursing in one moment. So all I wanted to do is just eat, just take it. I'm right here. I'm right here. Stop fighting, just take it, And I'm like, that must be how God feels until we open up to the divine. That's kind of, yeah. So I feel like I've learned more in the past 7 months about the divine than I ever learned on the meditation cushion or on the yoga mat. More about patience, more about unconditional love, more about being non-judgmental. I will never judge another person for their choices because you don't know what's going on. And we say that, but it's another thing to really feel it. When I was in labor, I said I chose to go all natural. It was great. It was very long. It was 25 hours. And there was one moment where I said, I will never judge a woman for going medicated. And that was the beginning of just, and then it was challenging a nurse. And I go, I will never judge another woman for choosing to, go with a bottle. Or, I'll never judge someone for being a stay-at-home mom. I'll never judge someone for going to work. Like all of a sudden, these ideas of what's good or healthy or right just are completely being washed away day after day. And it's shown up in all these ways. Like there's a guy down the street who isn't always the nicest guy. And I gave him a Christmas present. And I said, I've given him Christmas presents 2 years in a row, home-baked bread. And he doesn't have any family in town. His family's in Boston. And I used to call him our crazy neighbor. And now I just call him our neighbor. And because you don't know how hard they're working just to do what they're doing. And it's just interesting how, and I feel like when I let go of judgment and I act in a loving way and I focus on the beauty instead of complaining, that's when I'm closest to the divine, because that's when I'm aligned with the divine instead of being distracted or distorted or clouded or entangled. So those are two about a year apart, two very different experiences of my connection with the divine. And it's in flux right now, so I don't know where it's going to be a year from now.